Osaka's refusal to participate in post-game press conferences having really boiled over and led to Osaka actually withdrawing from the French Open.
Certainly is a talker, right? The 23-year-old tennis player cited her mental health as the reason for walking away from the game. Now, we did ask PIX11 sports anchor Justin Walters to join us this morning to really help us understand what this means for the tennis world and for Naomi's future. Good morning, Justin. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, I know you have a long day, right? You're covering the Brooklyn Nets game tonight, which is airing, by the way, here on PIX11. And we're going to put basketball aside just for a second, Justin, and really talk about this turn of events in Paris. So when, if ever, was the last time that a player withdrew from the French Open or from any Grand Slam tournament?
It's never happened, Dan and Betty. Honestly, this entire situation is bizarre, sad, frustrating. When you look at it through the full scope, a lot of people, before understanding what Naomi was going through, she cited back in 2018 that U.S. Open when she beat Serena, and I was actually there. And I remember some of the questions that were asked to her, and she was just frustrated, just seeing like this was her huge moment, and the whole focus was on Serena and that outburst of how everything took place. Now, focusing now on Naomi, when you look at this, to have people call her diva as well as privilege, that's just too far down the line. I think that the French Open clearly is more focused on tradition rather than the bottom line. You have to be adaptable. She cited something clearly which is bothering her, which is mental health. She wasn't trying to hijack this situation. And to go even further, the French Open thought this was funny. They tweeted out, and it's since been deleted, about 4 players that were doing their press conferences, and they titled it, "They knew their job and they knew their assignment," and they since have deleted it. It was clearly throwing shade at Naomi, and honestly, that's just not the route that you should be going.
And as you talk about her history, Justin, we do recall that she has broken down before. She has cried after winning some of these tournaments as well, and especially one with Serena. That was really kind of dramatic. Naomi's statement explaining her decision stated that she didn't want to be a distraction. Here's part of what she said, and I'm quoting here. She says, "I think now the best thing for the tournament, the other players, and my well-being is that I withdraw so that everyone can get back to focusing on the tennis going on in Paris. I never wanted to be a distraction, and I accept that my timing was not ideal and the message could have been clearer." So I want to ask you, what is she referring to when she says her timing wasn't ideal and that her message could have been clearer?
Because when she came out with this announcement, it was a week before the French Open began. She also played in the first round and defeated her opponent. So to make this announcement while you are currently playing isn't probably the best timing, but timing isn't always ideal. You have to focus on yourself. And I applaud her for putting this forward and saying, hey, I'm not going to go forward with this because it's going to be a negative distraction for this tournament and this Grand Slam event. Let me put me first. And her mental health is obviously going to be more important than just winning another trophy or trying to get to the final round.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I said yesterday. When she touched upon mental health, hands off, right? Let her do her thing. Nobody knows what's going on inside her head. We had Mike Bako on yesterday who was like, "What is part of her job to do these press conferences?" And it's part, you know, that's, and then you know, Billie Jean King came out and said, you know, she kind of towed the balance yesterday, saying like, well, there is an obligation for the press, but nobody really knows what's going on. So what is the response that Naomi's getting from other athletes about this?
Everyone from Steph Curry to we heard Serena Williams saying that she just wanted to give her a big hug yesterday. Everyone is applauding her. You nailed it on the head, Dan. Self-help is definitely important. Self-love, mental health. You have to put yourself first. I'm always going to choose me over everybody else. This is a selfish decision, and it should be applauded for what she's doing, rather than people calling her a diva or privilege. And then for those saying, oh, it has to be part of her obligations. She knew what she was doing. She signed up for this. You know what? A lot of these press conferences that I'm a part of, they're mundane, they're outdated. That's not to say me as a sports journalist and reporter, I want access to athletes in a good environment. But for this case, she didn't say, I'm gonna stop talking to media all in the future. She said for this tournament and moving forward, she at least wants to take a break. And that's what she did, and they fined her $15,000 for that. And I thought that they had an opportunity to be a part of something moving forward. And actually, I judge people how they're when they make decisions that are uncomfortable rather than when it's cliche and the trendy sporty thing to do. And I'm not surprised what the French Open did.
So Justin, let me ask you, as a sports journalist, as someone who is asking the questions, right? She says some of these questions are outdated. The whole system is a bit outdated. So what needs to change? Because there are those who will say, look, if you don't come to these press conferences, then other athletes are going to cite the same thing and do the same thing, and then the whole system will be broken.
No, there are a lot of things that do need to change. She did, for the record, at least after that first tournament win, do the brief on-court press conference, but decided that she didn't want to do the post-press conference. As someone that's an introvert and doing this virtual thing, that's something that fed into her mental health and the advantage that she wanted. But when it comes to trying to find a different avenue, I think the French Open needs to explore that route, and I give her credit. She did it in that long post mentioned at the end. When the timing is right, she opened up the door to have an invitation with the federation to allow them to find out ways that they can improve. I don't have the right answer, but I'm telling you that there are a lot of things that I see as a media member and a lot of questions that are fed to these athletes that are just really corny.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be a conversation that's going to be had moving forward. Justin, real quick, we only have about 25 seconds left. Talk about the big game in Brooklyn tonight. Nets up 3-1 heading into Game 5. You're going to be at Barclays for all the excitement. What can we expect?
It's exciting, and the game is on our air. I cannot wait for this. The big three, Kyrie, Durant, and Harden, just combined for 110 points. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of focus outside the court, fans just doing idiotic things. Hopefully, we do not see that tonight in Brooklyn. Huge game, and of course, it airs right here on our network. I'm excited for it.
All right, Justin. Hey, thanks for getting up early with us. I know it's going to be a long game, a long day, I should say, and hopefully a really quick game and one that we come out on top of. All right, thanks for being with us today.
Justin.
Game starts tonight at 7:30 p.m. right here on PIX11.
All right.